Hey girl, welcome back to the podcast. I cannot wait to share today's episode with you. It is going to be a good one. We're going to be talking about comparison. And I was out on my walk just thinking about what you needed to hear, girl. And I think what you need to hear is that you don't need to compare your husband's workout or your best friend's lunch choice to yourself and what you're doing. It has nothing to do with you. And so I want us to just get into the weeds of this. Like, why do we compare ourselves to other people's life, especially the people that are so close to us? And so we're going to dive into the truths of comparison. We're also going to talk about why this is keeping you stuck in an unhealthy relationship with exercise and food. We're going to talk a little bit of science in there because you know I like to nerd out on that. Then I'm going to give you some things to take away that you can do that are going to be tangible, that will hopefully get you thinking about this concept of comparing your life and your recovery choices to other people. Really just the real cost, the cost that staying in this game is doing to you and to your health and to your future. And so I hope today's episode gives you a reality check that you so desperately need. And I would love to hear from you. And if you enjoy this one, please share it with a friend. That is how we get known and seen by more listeners and more women that need help and support with eating disorders. Before we dive in today, I just want to encourage you. I want to invite you in to my space. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're a veteran and you've been here a long time, I want to hear from you and I want to get to know you. So come on out to our private Facebook community. You can do that at herbestselfsociety.com. And you can also go on out to herbestself.co, fill out a client application if you're looking for support in your journey to freedom. And if you're just looking for a community of women, that is that free space that you'll find us at on Facebook. So I want to encourage you to do one of those two things today. All right, girl, let's get to it. Here we go. Hey girl, welcome to the Her Best Self podcast. I'm Lindsey, former competitive figure skater and perfectionist, turned God-led imperfect boy mom and digital CEO. If you find yourself constantly thinking about food and wondering if you'll wake up one day free from the obsessive thoughts and behaviors controlling your life, then I've created this podcast for you because I know exactly what it's like to be a downright hot mess trapped in a destructive cycle of disordered eating. I finally found freedom and you can too, girlfriend. So if you're ready to heal your relationship with food and body and break the chains of control and show up in your best health, then grab your favorite Tarjay journal and let's get to it so you can start living your best life as your best self. Hey girl, welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm talking to you about something that's probably going to make you squirm in your seat, and that's okay. I'm just going to bring it to you. We're talking about why you cannot stop staring at your husband's plate, and why his morning run makes you feel like a lazy failure, and why your best friend skipping lunch because she's just too busy sends you into a shame spiral about eating all of your meals or about eating any meals. And it's validating that you just don't need breakfast or that snacks are going to be just fine for you. Sis, if you have ever caught yourself thinking, why does he or why does she get to go work out for an hour when I'm supposed to rest or learn how to cut back? Or she barely ate anything at dinner and here I am trying to do better, be better, like some kind of a pig, then girlfriend, this episode is specifically for you today. Here's the truth. Other people's food and exercise have absolutely nothing to do with yours. And I know that we know that logically, but I'm about to show you exactly why your brain is doing this comparison dance and how you can escape it, because this used to give me nightmares. I want you to grab your journal, I want you to get comfortable, and I want us to talk about the real, raw comparison trap, because it is totally keeping you stuck. Let me start by saying this. You are not crazy, you are not weak, and you definitely are not alone in the struggle. A 2019 study that was published in the Journal of Social and Clinical Psychology found that limiting social comparison reduced depression and anxiety within just 1 week. But here is what they didn't study. The comparison that is happening right in your own kitchen every single day. And I know you know what I'm talking about. Your husband grabs a banana and heads out for his 5-mile run while you're sitting there fighting the voice in your head that says, see, he doesn't need as much food as you, and you are a woman. He's stronger. He's more disciplined. He'll probably burn so many calories, and you're over here just making excuses. And now you need to go harder or longer or do it better. But here's the truth, sis. You're not comparing apples to apples when you do this to yourself. You're comparing bananas to eating disorder recovery, and you just simply cannot. We've got to stop, because your husband isn't recovering from years of restriction. His brain isn't rewiring itself or trying to start rewiring itself to trust food again. His metabolism, it isn't healing from years or decades of undereating. He gets to have a normal relationship with food and exercise because he's never had to rebuild one from the ground up. You aren't on the same playing field. You're not even on the same field. And sister friend, you definitely aren't competing against each other in even the same sport. So we just need to be real with that. Here's the fun fact. What he does doesn't concern you, at least not in this space. You aren't his God. And I know that's going to sting, but I had to tell myself that when I was with the guy I was with during my recovery. I wasn't even my own during that point. I wasn't even making proper choices and decisions for myself. I simply could not try to control his decisions. Your power and control, which is exactly what you're after anyways, is in what you can do next. And that doesn't mean that you need to run harder or be more disciplined. So what will you do next? That's the question, and that's where your power lies. And we're going to get there in just a minute, but I want to share the 3 comparison types that I see with my clients that are keeping them stuck. And I hope this helps you too. And if you're not a client, you should totally check out becoming one if you're looking for more personalized support and accountability. You can do that on my website, herbestself.co. Okay, I had to go there, but now let's get to it. The comparison categories that are keeping you stuck. Number 1 is the exercise comparison. Okay, we just talked about that a little bit, but like, why can he go do this when I can't? Or my friend does CrossFit every single day and I'm here taking rest days like some kind of sloth. Or whatever that thought in your mind is up for you when I talk about that. Like, stop comparing your exercise. But this is what happens. We do. All of us do, especially when we're trying to rid ourselves from over-exercise. The second comparison category is the food comparison. She only ate half her sandwich and I finished my whole one. Or, gosh, how come she's allowed to have a sandwich and I have to have a salad? Or whatever it is, okay? He skipped breakfast and he seems fine, but I'm over here supposed to be eating every few hours like I'm training for a marathon, and I'm not. So whatever those thoughts are that come up for you, there's the exercise comparison, there's the food comparison, and then lastly, there's the body comparison. Oh gosh, you look so amazing, girl, and you barely work out. Or why can he eat pizza and stay lean, but if I look at carbs, I gain weight? All of these things, okay, they're lies. You're not going to blow up. So stop telling yourself that you're going to blow up if you even think about adding a granola bar at 3 p.m. every single day. I get it. But that is that black and white thinking that the eating disorder wants you to believe so you can stay here. If this sounds familiar, here's what's happening in your brain when you go down this rabbit hole. I promised you some science. Dr. Leon Festinger's social comparison theory shows that humans naturally evaluate themselves to other humans. It's literally how you were wired. But when you're in eating disorder recovery, this normal process gets totally hijacked by your eating disorder voice. Your eating disorder brain uses comparison as evidence that you're doing something wrong, that you're a failure. And it whispers these lies, these false truths from the enemy. And they sound something like this. See, normal people don't need to eat as much unless they're overweight. Or healthy people exercise more than you do. Or you are being so dramatic on needing to rest. You just need to do another set. Or if you choose something other than the salad at a restaurant, you are simply going to lose all control. But girl, your eating disorder voice is not your friend. Why are we treating her like she's our friend? And she's definitely not telling you the truth. Proverbs 14:12 says this: there is a way that appears to be right, but in the end, it leads to death. This is the comparison trap. The comparison trap appears logical. Of course you should do what healthy people do, but it actually leads you further from healing because their journey is their journey. Let's get into the weeds here. Think through this with me. Your spouse wakes up, doesn't eat breakfast because he's, quote, not hungry, goes for that run we were talking about, and comes back and has a black coffee. Meanwhile, you're sitting there feeling like you're doing something wrong. Part of you knows you can't live on coffee as a food group. And yet another part of you feels like if he isn't eating, then why should you? But here's what you're not seeing. His nervous system, sis, isn't in recovery mode. Your body is literally on the brink of rebuilding trust, and it needs consistent fuel to believe that food is safe and that food is available. His body isn't sending starvation signals that need to be overwritten. Yours is, and that is why this is not even a comparison in the first place. Here's another thing you're not seeing, that his relationship with exercise, it isn't complicated by restriction. He can go for a run because for him, it's generally enjoyable. It's a release. It's not because he's trying to earn food or because he's trying to punish his body. Your relationship with movement is being rebuilt from a place of self-care, not self-punishment. Again, it's not apples to apples. And his hunger cues are functioning normally. But years of restriction have confused your body's natural signals and natural cues. So you're relearning to eat based upon eating, and that's exactly what healing looks like. It's not intuitive, it's messy, but eventually you will get there. I've watched this in my own husband. Literally yesterday, the man went on a 13-mile ruck. And don't even ask me to explain to you this new phenomenon called rucking or mucking, or dare I say another word, but this is totally a PG show. But he came home and I was cooking bacon for me and the boys. Bacon, okay? He came home through the front door. He was a sticky, mucky mess of a man saying how good the bacon smelled and asking me if I'd eaten yet. This is something that my husband does to forever be my accountability partner when it comes to nourishment. Like, he will constantly remind me, like, did you eat? Have you eaten? What'd you eat? Should we have something? Like, and some days in this exact example, he will come in and he will eat all the bacon. While in others, like today, he ran upstairs, he took a shower, and then he decided to mosey around a little into the kitchen and cook majority of the fridge. Decades ago, that example would have put me in a tailspin. Why did you have to be gone so long? Why did you leave me with these kids so that you could run for even longer or do your mucking? And then I would say something like, do you really think that's healthy? Do you want some bacon? Can I make you breakfast? I'm saying this in an annoying voice, not to annoy you, but just to give you some context. I would literally have said, you really should eat a lot right now. You burned a lot of calories. Let me cook you some pancakes. And I just laugh it off now. And you will never find me doing 13 miles of anything outside of driving with a coffee in hand, which, sidebar, is mostly full of creamer. But what I can tell you is that this comes from that nagging place in your mind. Insert comparison. A 2020 study in the International Journal of Eating Disorders found that social comparison was one of the strongest predictors of eating disorder relapse. Every time you compare your recovery to somebody else's normal, you're literally increasing your risk of going backwards. And we're just not going to go there. But it's not just about relapse, sis. Comparison is stealing your present. It's stealing your moment. While you're busy analyzing your friend's salad portion, you're missing out on actually enjoying your own. While you're resenting your husband's workout, you're not celebrating the fact that you chose to rest when your body needed it. And that is so something to be praised. Comparison is the thief of joy, but it's also the thief of recovery progress. All right, here's where I wanted to get practical when I was framing up what we were going to talk about today, because awareness is great, but you need tools, okay? You need something that you can actually do when you catch yourself in this trap. I'm going to give you 3. Number 1, a reality check. When you catch yourself comparing, I want you to pause and pray if that's something that you do regularly, but if not, I encourage it. But I want you to pause and say, am I comparing my recovery process to someone's normal? Am I comparing apples to apples, or are we talking bananas and something completely different? Apples and pineapples. Here's another question. What would I tell my friend, my husband, or my child if she was thinking this about herself? This is something to truly reflect on, because your spouse wouldn't tell you, no, you shouldn't go do that, unless they are a part of your recovery journey and they actually know that you're trying to cut back on exercise. The people that are for you, and that creates shame, almost like we should want them to do something good for their health, but you're judging yourself in the midst of it. Here's another question. Is this thought moving me toward healing or moving me away from it? Is it moving me toward healing or away from it? That's the reality check. You're going to take a second. You're going to check in with yourself. Real talk. This is the second strategy. I want you to have this like information type gathering assessment with yourself. So instead of assuming that you know everyone's full story, get curious. Get curious. Maybe your friend who skipped lunch is going to eat a massive dinner, or maybe she just stuffed her face right before she left her house to meet you. We don't know. So we have to stop pretending that we know all the answers. Maybe your husband who went for a run will be exhausted tomorrow and he won't go for 2 weeks. We don't know. Maybe that woman who barely ate at the work gathering has a completely different relationship with food than you realize. We don't know. You are only responsible for you, your body, your journey, and your healing. Is what you're doing right now in your mind helping you do that? Helping you be responsible for you. And then the third strategy is the redirect and refocus. Okay, so as soon as that comparison hits, name it. I'm comparing again. Redirect. My recovery is about me and my healing, not theirs. And then refocus. What does my body need right now? How can I act in love and curiosity versus hate and resentment? And that's both to yourself and maybe to your spouse or your friend too. Your recovery, girl, is uniquely yours. And Isaiah 43:19 reminds you, see, I'm doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? Girl, God is doing something completely new in your life, and he's using recovery to do that. And if you are on the precipice of jumping into recovery, he is so using you. And whether or not you believe in God or the universe or whatever, you don't get to compare a new thing to an old thing and expect it to make sense. You just don't. You can't expect to compare what is yours to what is your partner's and expect it to be even the same or better. You can't. Your recovery journey is as unique as your fingerprint. Your trauma is different, your past is different, your genetic makeup is different, your life circumstances are different, even if it's your spouse. So why are you expecting your healing to look like somebody else's normal? I want you to grab your journal because I really want to dig into this. And I know this episode might be a longer one than what I typically record, but I'm going to give you 5 questions to dive in and reflect because I'm so passionate about this comparison. We've got to stop. Question number 1 to reflect on. When I compare myself to others, what am I scared of? Like, get it out. Be brutally honest. Question number 2. What lies is my eating disorder voice telling me when I compare myself? Purge it out. Question number 3. If I stopped caring about what others ate or how they exercised, what would change in my life? Girl, when I noticed that as soon as I could let my husband do what my husband did and I could be in charge of me, it was a relief. You are not his keeper, her keeper, whoever's keeper. You are yours. Question number 4. What would I do differently if I truly believed that my recovery was worth prioritizing? And lastly, how is comparison serving my eating disorder rather than serving my healing and my future self? Here's something that I need you to hear. The shame you feel about needing more food or less exercise than other people, it's not motivating you toward health. It's keeping you chained in this trap. It's keeping you chained. Every single time that you shame yourself for eating a meal or every single time that you shame yourself for not working out, you're literally feeding the disorder what you're trying to rid yourself from. Because shame says, you're too much, you're not enough, you're broken. But grace says, you're exactly where you need to be and you're on the exact step you need to be on. Recovery means that what you're eating matters more than what's on your husband's plate. Recovery means that rest days are important as workout days. Recovery means that your healing journey takes priority over fitting in with other people. Recovery means that doing what your body needs is okay, regardless of what anyone else is doing. And sis, that might look weird to people, and that's okay. Your husband might not even understand why you need to eat every few hours, or your friends, they might not even get that you just can't exercise whenever you feel like it. Guess what? People called me the snack lady because I always had granola bars like around me because I never knew when I was going to need to eat, and I knew that I needed to have something available. Cool, it's fine. They don't need to understand. Your recovery isn't up for discussion. It's not up for a vote. Here's the truth bomb. What he or she are eating or how long they're exercising, it's not your business. I was trying to whisper that, but it didn't come out right. You are your business. You are your business. So what if I told you that your recovery behaviors, whether that is eating regular meals, honoring rest, following your meal plan, are actually more normal than your husband's grab and go eating or your friend's meal skipping? What if the eating patterns you're comparing yourself to could be considered disordered themselves, even if your loved one doesn't struggle with an eating disorder? Because they're so common, girl, in our culture that we've just labeled them normal. But maybe you're not the one who needs to change, that. Maybe you're modeling to someone else in your life what a healthy relationship looks like, what a healthy relationship with food looks like, what a healthy relationship with exercise looks like. So here is what I want you to practice out loud. This is your identity statement whenever you're struggling with comparison. I am not my husband. I am not my friend. I am not social media. I am a woman in recovery, and my healing journey is sacred to me. Other people's choices have nothing to do with what my recovery needs. I choose progress over comparison. I choose healing over hiding, and my recovery over everyone else's opinion. And that's the bottom line. It has to be over anyone else's judgment or opinion of you. So instead of comparing, I want you to compare to your past self. Compare today's meal to the restriction that you lived in last year. Compare today's rest day to the overexercise that controlled you. Compare today's compassion to that shame spiral that you lived in. And if you're not there yet, friend, here is the truth. Your brain has to learn to rewrite these patterns. So thank your brain for trying to keep you safe with these current old patterns. Remind yourself that comparison is not helping you recover. And I want you to take an action that honors you, nobody else. Nobody else. You can eat more and exercise less. And you can still be worthy of both at the same time. Girl, I want to leave you with this. Your recovery is not too much. Eating more isn't excessive. Your need for rest, it is not lazy. And your healing journey is not selfish. And anyone who makes you feel otherwise is speaking from their own unhealed places. Again, which have nothing to do with you. Your eating disorder wants you to compare because it knows that comparison is going to keep you stuck. But you, sis, you were made for more. You were made to eat without guilt, move with joy, and live without the constant mental chatter of comparison. So I want you to stop. I want you to stop giving your mental energy to other people's plates. Stop. Instead, how can you love and show yourself compassion? Because the most freaking rebellious thing that you can possibly do against your eating disorder is to stop caring what everyone else is doing and to start caring about what you're doing. You've got this, girl. Your recovery matters. Your healing matters. You're so much stronger than you know, and I adore you. I'll be back on Friday with another episode, but until then, keep choosing you. Choose you every freaking second of the day and keep believing that freedom is possible because I believe that for you. Until next time, bye for now, sis. Oh, friend, thank you so much for letting me share what was on my heart today. My hope for this podcast is to help more women find freedom from food and body. If this has empowered or blessed you, let me know. I'd be honored for your rating and review of my show, and I'd love to connect with you in my private Facebook community. You really can move from perfection to purpose. Let's break the chains together. I'll help navigate the way. Until next time, bye for now, girl.